Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Owen talks about sports and movies. Thank you for checking out today's video. I always appreciate the support. Let's get into it. So today is probably one of the best days in the entire year. Today kicks off the 2022 NFL Draft. The NFL Draft is something I always look forward to each year. For whatever reason, it's wildly entertaining and it's one of my favorite events and something I look forward to year round. So today I'm going to go over some top players to watch, position groups, some superlatives, and a mock draft and predictions and stuff like that. Make sure you guys leave your thoughts down below. What you guys think is going to happen in the draft, what you want to see happen, other good stuff like that. With all that being said, let's get into it. First thing we're going to do is talk about some top players to watch. I definitely think the three most entertaining players that are kind of going to be definitely all grouped together are Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, and Kayvon Thibodeau. Kind of the three elite defensive line prospects coming out of this year's draft. Aiden Hutchinson, Trayvon Walker, and Kayvon Thibodeau are all in contention to be the number one pick, which I find really, really interesting. This is not a quarterback-heavy draft or a quarterback-dominant draft, so it's going to give another position group some breathing room to kind of come in and be the top gun in this year's draft. Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley, two of the best corner prospects we've seen come out in a long time, or in some time, which is really considering something since corner has been a good position coming out. Kyle Hamilton, who I think is personally really getting slept on. I don't know why he's getting even more hype than he already does, but he's a safety out of Notre Dame. Pro comp Micah Hyde, if you can't see it. Another really strong receiver class, headlined by kind of a big five once again, and Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, Drake London, and Treylon Burks. The two big quarterbacks in this class, the two that are kind of the consensus 1 and 2, are Kenny Pickett out of Pitt, Malik Willis out of Liberty. And then another strength of this class is offensive line. With guys like Ike Inouye, I did not say that right, Evan Neal, among others, and then Jordan Davis, the huge absolute behemoth from Georgia. The strengths of this class, I definitely say, would be along the trenches on both sides of the ball and receiver. Outside of the guys that I mentioned, Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, Jordan Davis, guys like Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia, another big-time Georgia Bulldog, Jermaine Johnson, who was on Last Chance U, and then transferred to Georgia, and then left Georgia, and now was a stud at Florida State. That goes to show you how deep this year's Georgia team was, that a guy like Jermaine Johnson couldn't even get on the field consistently. And then George Karlaftis, who I think is going to make someone really, really happy in the late half of the first round. Another few receivers to talk about, Jahan Dotson's really good. Christian Watson, who I'm going to bring up later in the video, is also another really good receiver. An offensive lineman, this draft is not the most flashy by any means, but this draft is going to make or break a lot of teams. A lot of management is going to be decided on, whether can you hit on these guys in the trenches. Outside quarterback, offensive lineman, and defensive lineman are probably the most valuable positions in all football. And so when you've got a class that's so deep and so good at those positions, you have really got to make a concerted effort to get it right. So weaknesses, it's not a super good quarterback class, which is something we're not really used to, and I think why this draft may not be as considered as exciting. It's still a good draft, but when you're not as good at the position that's most valuable, you kind of lose some of your momentum. I think Kenny Pickett's probably the best quarterback in this draft, and I think he would maybe have been fifth in last year's draft. I think I probably would have still taken Mac Jones over him. Actually, no, I definitely would have taken Kenny Pickett over Mac Jones, but that would put him at 5, So for him to be number 1 in this class, and he's like borderline top 5 in last year's class, that kind of goes to show. But some other quarterbacks, Matt Corral, Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell. I think Matt Corral's got all the talent in the world, but, he's got that leg injury, and he played in a very, very, very simple system in Ole Miss. So, you worry about his ability to read NFL defenses. And then Desmond Ridder and Sam Howell. Sam Howell, my comp for him is Baker Mayfield, and that's all you need to know about him. And then Desmond Ridder, I just worry about just he doesn't have the most physical traits in the world. Definitely good athlete on the ground, but definitely not just like an all-word thrower of the football. Linebacker, Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean are both very, very, very good. And Quay Walker, who's also at Georgia, are all three very, very good linebackers. But outside of them, as far as top end talent, it's not quite a super great class. And then the tight end class is normally always weak, so really no shocker there. The headline by Trey McBride, Cade Auden, and Jalen Watermeyer from A&M. So I think the safest player in this draft is Aiden Hutchinson. I think maybe out of those big three defensive ends, Kayvon Thibodeau, him and Trayvon Walker, I think he might have the lowest ceiling, but he definitively has the highest floor, and I think he's got the highest floor out of everyone in this draft. I think that, you just look at his production and traits, pretty much makes him a lock to be a plus NFL starter. I think the best player in this class is Kyle Hamilton. I think he's the only player in this class that you could consider generational at his position. Unfortunately, in the draft process, safety is not valued that high, so he's not getting as much buzz. But I really think Kyle Hamilton is a 6'4", free safety who can also play down in the box, has unlimited range, and stuff like that. So if Kyle Hamilton played a more valuable position, I really think he would be in contention to be the number one pick because I think he's the only one that I would consider a generational talent at his position in the draft. Boom or bust. I think that Derek Stingley and Kayvon Thibodeau are definition of boom or bust. Derek Stingley, especially. Derek Stingley probably had the greatest corner season in college football history his freshman year and has not been able to match that level of production. It's not even the production number of not being able to get as many picks because you can attribute that to teams throwing away from him. But, availability, he didn't play very much and he didn't play quite as good. So you're a little worried about that. If you hit on Derek Stingley and Derek Stingley hits his potential, Derek Stingley is going to be our next Jalen Ramsey. He's going to be the best corner in the NFL, and you'll probably have the best player in this draft going away. That's great. But if he doesn't, you're just going to get another run-of-the-mill 6'1" athletic corner. And Kayvon Thibodeau, I think Kayvon Thibodeau's got a lot of really good traits to be an elite NFL pass rusher, but with questions about his motor and production, you get a little nervous. But I think if either one of these guys can hit their potential, they can be the best player that comes out of this draft and potentially the best player at their position in the entire league. Swing picks. What I mean by that is these two picks I kind of think are going to control kind of the narrative and the flow of the whole first round. And I think it really comes down to whether or not Carolina is going to take a quarterback at 6. If Carolina does take a quarterback at 6, that's probably going to make someone jump up to 9, where Seattle is, to pick whoever Carolina doesn't pick. But even if that doesn't happen, I could see that being somewhere like the Chiefs or the Packers or someone who's got multiple first-round picks to go get their receiver guy before the run and receiver starts to make sure that they get their explosive pass catcher, especially as the arms race in the NFL continues to pick up. Apparently, I'd love to see Jameson Williams to the Chiefs. Clearly, I am a little biased. You guys know I'm a big Chiefs fan. But if we get this, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, they got their Tyreek Hill replacement, and I honestly think there will probably not be very much lacking. I don't think Jameson Williamson is quite as good after the catch as Tyreek Hill, but it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up being that good. I'm talking in the short, intermediate area, being able to quick twitch and get his way out of a jam, but just top, flat end speed, kind of the Chiefs touchdown. The Chiefs are good for about one a game. I definitely think Jameson Williamson can easily come in here and replace the Tyreek Hill role that the Chiefs just lost out on, and I think this would be my perfect pairing if I can make it ideal in the draft. Sleeper player, Christian Watson. Christian Watson is a 6'4", 220 guy who runs a 4.3. This guy is lightning fast. He's got every single physical trait in the world you could think of. You do worry about his production at such a low level for him being such a freak athlete. But if you're a team that gets what you can get out of him, you're gonna have the most athletic receiver in the NFL and probably one of the best guys to play at this position. And you might be able to get him the late first, early second, and absolutely steal this man. They're gonna get you fired. these are the type of players that are going to make or break your kind of your management. Trayvon Walker at 1 really, really scares me. I understand he has absolutely great traits, no doubt, no question about it. Does he have elite traits? But you think, and then you say, like you look at his production and it's lackluster. I know Georgia was loaded, but at the same time, for you to be the number 1 pick, I really need your production to be through the roof, and his just wasn't. So that scares me, number 1. And this entire quarterback group is going to make or break people's time running teams. If Matt Rule rolls the dice at someone at a quarterback at 6, and it doesn't work, the entire Carolina Panther front office and coaching staff is getting cleared out head to toe. Or like, let's say you're a late first round team and you trade back to get in Desmond Ridder, and then he is not very good. You're going to look dumb because he wasn't a Sherlock anyways. Or if you're a team and you get Malik Willis and you play him too early and he's not very good, you're going to look stupid as well. So this group of guys is who's going to get you fired. My favorite player is Treylon Burks. I would consider him wide receiver 3. I have him over Drake London and Jameson Williams. I just really, really like Treylon Burks. I think he can be your Debo or your AJ Brown, and that sounds really good to me. My top predictions for the draft. I think the Chiefs go big and trade up for a Tyreek Hill replacement. I mean, you've got 2 first-round picks. You package those together, throw in a 3rd-round pick. You go to Seattle. You call them at 9, like, hey, let's do this. And then you have your pick of receiver. You'll see that one of these guys wouldn't be available at 9 per se. But if you could have your pick between James Williamson, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, whoever you think that's going to be, whoever you think is going to be your Tyreek Hill guy. The Chiefs are an aggressive franchise. They always make big moves like this. They're not afraid to do it. I think that this will probably happen on draft night. I think Carolina and Atlanta are going to pass on QB and wait for next year, especially Atlanta, because they've got a bridge guy, Mariota. Atlanta's not going to be very good at all next year. I think they'll just wait and try to get their pick between CJ Stroud or Bryce Young next year, because as good as they are with Will Anderson in next year's class, it's not even a guarantee that they're going to go number 1. So you may not even have to be number 1 to get one of those guys. And I think that incentivizes Carolina and Atlanta to pass on either Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis in the top 10. I think Georgia will have the most first-round picks. I don't think this is necessarily a hot take at all, but between Trayvon Walker, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, and George Pickens, that's 6 Georgia Bulldogs I think could easily make the first round. And I definitely anticipate all 4 of them except Pickens and Nakobe Dean to be first-round locks, but Pickens could definitely fill in the late first round to Kobe Dean as well. So I think Georgia will have the most first rounders out of all the schools. So this is my mock draft right here. Pause if you want to read it for a quick second. Look at it. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching today's video. I always appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave your thoughts and comments down below on what you think is going to happen tonight and through the entire draft. Check out the link content. And you guys have a great day.